Hello everyone, and welcome back to an episode of Gentoo, your source for all things video game and tech related. As always, I'm Cade Cox.
And I'm Chris Young. The first week of March gives us a taste at what seems to be an explosive month for gaming. We've got gardening, gangsters, and more releasing this week on your favorite platforms.
First up is Harvest Moon: One World. Trek across beaches, the desert, and even a volcano in the latest entry to the long-running Harvest Moon series. The Harvest Goddess has gone missing, and it's up to you to help bring her back. Along the way, you'll come across cows, sheep, camels, and even reindeer. Dig in, because this game, the world is literally your oyster. This title hits the Nintendo Switch on March 2nd.
Next, we have Yakuza Like a Dragon for PS5. This title released on November 10th, but a PS5 version was absent. Like a Dragon is the latest entry in the Yakuza series, and it sees a new hero take the reins, Ichiban Kazuka, who's aided by a colorful array of fresh faces. That's helped in part by its switch to a party-based RPG combat system from its usual action-based gameplay. If you already own it on PS4, experience the upgrade for free on March 2nd.
To close out the week, we'll see the release of 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition. Sega plans for the 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition release date to land on March 5th, and it will be available for Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, as well as PS5 and Xbox Series X via backwards compatibility for the respective last-gen versions.
Triple!
Welcome back everyone to a new episode of A Different Reality, where you get to listen to me talk about whatever VR game I'm playing this week. I'm Cade Cox, and this week's game is Pavlov. Now I know what you're probably wondering, Cade, you've already done a first-person shooter. What is this, off-brand Onward, blah blah blah. Okay, well maybe you aren't thinking that, but if you are, let me explain. Both Onward and Pavlov are staples in the VR first-person shooter genre, both coming out over 5 years ago when VR was much less popular. But both of these games, especially Pavlov, have been able to stay popular throughout the years by constantly updating and listening to their players. But before we talk about how far Pavlov has come, let's take a look at how it plays in 2021. Right off the bat, most people see an undeniable resemblance to the game CSGO, and you would be right. This game has the same weapons and shares some animations with CSGO. However, there isn't your typical CSGO knife twirling and there aren't any skins for weapons yet, but there's definitely something in the works. The textures in Pavlov have seen some major upgrades in the last year, and they look fantastic to say the least. All of the maps in the game look great and play even better. The gameplay of Pavlov is on the slower side and definitely isn't as difficult as Onward, thank God, which makes this game much more relaxing to play and easy on casual players. The gun mechanics are very well done. Each gun has a different recoil pattern, and you need to know how each weapon reloads, which can be hard sometimes for some people. The ballistics are both very good and a little unpredictable. Different caliber weapons will do more damage and leave different size impacts, but sometimes it feels like you're just shooting blanks. But that's okay most times, because the enemies in Pavlov are bad. Very, very bad. It's definitely some of the wonkiest movement I've seen from AI in any VR game, but it has its own goofy charm. It's like the only time bots can beat you is when you're not looking at them. This gives the game great appeal for casual players that want the VR FPS style but none of the stress. What really separates Pavlov from other FPS games in VR is the custom maps, and the quality of those custom maps as well. I can't describe what it's like playing Team Deathmatch in Nuketown, in VR. And it's not just a port of a reconstructed version of Nuketown, it's Nuketown. From TV screens to the not-so-secretive anymore RCXD ramp, this map has it all. And just when you thought it couldn't get any cooler, you get to play on Rust. Boy, does this take me back to getting absolutely clapped in 1v1s back in the day. And just when you thought it couldn't get any cooler than that, you get to battle it out in the streets of downtown Bikini Bottom. Specifically downtown from Battle for Bikini Bottom, the classic SpongeBob game for the PS2, and the office of Dunder Mifflin Scranton. With the casual yet fun gameplay and the very attentive and understanding devs, it is easy to understand why people have loved this game for years. The wacky AI and sometimes confusing gunplay are minor problems in an otherwise great game. I give Pavlov 8 out of 10.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to Game Over, the show where I select one game that launched terribly, see how they're holding up, and give my personal opinion on their improvements, or lack thereof. Well, now that you know what's going on, let's pull the rug out from under these games, point and laugh at them, and jump right into today's selection. Crystal Dynamics' Marvel's Avengers takes our favorite group of heroes that we've all grown to know and love and places them into a new, compelling story, fighting treacherous villains, traversing puzzling landscapes, and looting? Wait, what? Oh, that last part was true? Oh, that's the entire game? Alright. Now, if you couldn't tell by my cheery disposition, Marvel's Avengers is not exactly a great product. From its atrocious technical issues all the way to its repetitive and boring level designs that would make the library seem like a theme park, it's pretty rough. Actually, let's take a look at the PC player base while we're at it. Oh. It's safe to say that this live service game isn't doing too hot. This game launched with very uninspired level and enemy designs, repetitive mission objectives, a pointless looting system, and bothersome game-breaking technical issues. You're constantly traversing the same locations over and over again, completing nearly identical objectives while fighting hordes of the same robot enemies. Not only is this lazy design, but this makes each mission not feel unique and leads to the gameplay becoming monotonous. Next up is the looting. Now, as far as gameplay mechanics go, this is the most useless one. Throughout the game, you can find different pieces of gear for each of your characters, boosting their power levels and making them more viable in higher ranked missions. However, that's where the problem starts. These pieces of gear don't give you any special ability to change the way you fight. Instead, it's only there to make sure your character doesn't die in higher difficulty missions. With that said, what's really the point of having gear on superpowered or super trained heroes? They're naturally strong, so if anything, the only aspect that should improve their overall strength is the regular level up system. And lastly, we have the technical issues. Now, to be upfront, there's too many bugs to list, so I'm only going to be mentioning the ones that I find are the most problematic, starting with frame rate. During parts of missions when you aren't in combat, the frame rate for the most part is acceptable, but as soon as you launch that first strike at an enemy, your game transforms into a PowerPoint presentation. Another issue is regarding cosmetics, which can be purchased with actual money, not being unlocked after you've already made the transaction. This one is a huge issue for obvious reasons. Lastly, and most importantly to note, are the actual game-breaking glitches that can happen at any random moment. These glitches can make it so your entire save file can be corrupted and any progress that you've made in the game is now gone. Now, some of these glitches have been fixed, however, they are still quite prevalent today. I know I've bashed this game a good amount, but I do have to give some credit where it's due. The characters for the most part are well represented, with the occasional annoyance or absence from the story, and another positive are the graphics, which aren't the best, but are far from being the ugliest, so I suppose that's a plus. Other than that though, there really just aren't enough good things to say about this title. I mean, yeah, it's nice to see that the team is still working on it and still making new content, however, I just don't believe that that's enough to save the game. The launch of this title was simply too unpolished, and it's sad to say, but I honestly can't recommend this title for anyone.
Kate took us to a new world in Pavlov.
While Chris looked at the superpowered failure that is Marvel's Avengers.
It may be hard to believe, but we still have 3 killer segments coming at you from Austin, Cody, and John.
Welcome back to Scrambled Secrets, where we show off the best hidden Easter eggs in video games. I'm video game enthusiast Austin Claypool, and today we'll be looking at Goat Simulator. Originally released in April of 2014 by Coffee Stain Studios, this game is as wacky as they come. In this third-person open-world mess of a game, you play as a goat. But not just any goat, one that can parkour, lick everything, and bleat, aka scream. Goat Simulator is an incredibly buggy game where objects and character models often clip through buildings, spasm uncontrollably, and go flying into space. But that's one aspect that makes playing this game so enjoyable. Throughout the world, there are way too many Easter eggs to count, so in this video, I'll be showing off my top 5 favorite Easter eggs in Goat Simulator. The first Easter egg today deals with the satanic ritual hidden in the woods. Although most players will have found this during their exploration of Goatsville, there are multiple Easter eggs within this demonic symbolism. By bringing 5 innocent humans as sacrifices, you will unlock a special ability. This new demonic magnetic superpower allows you to round up objects and people in an unnerving way. This is a reference to the Katamari game series, where the protagonist rolls up everything into these fantastically large clumps. Remember what I said about this game being buggy? Well, sometimes when you use this power, this will happen. Aliens are a popular topic for Easter eggs, so of course Goat Simulator has one. To discover the secret, find and lick the bacon beacon hidden in the garage with a treadmill. Take this beacon to the crop circles next to the car rally. After placing the beacon on the wooden post, wait for the alien spacecraft to appear. Next, hitch a ride up in their tractor beam and you'll be transported to outer space, complete with asteroids and a dancing spaceman? This next one is a 2-for-1 Easter egg. There's a house in Goatsville that serves as Coffee Stain Studios. Inside the house you'll be greeted by all the employees. Where the secret gets more interesting is what you can play on the TV upstairs. Approach the television and press triangle to play a goat version of Flappy Bird. This version is even more frustrating than the original game. Moving over to the secondary map named Goat City Bay, a nod to the movie Castaway starring Tom Hanks can be found. First board the boat in the bay by the skyscraper and make sure to attach your tongue to it. Enjoy the wild ride to end up on a deserted island similar to Tom Hanks in the movie, although he crashes in a plane. You can even find a familiar friend on the island. I saved my favorite Easter egg for last. Next to the bridge by the carnival there is a sewer entrance. Hop on in to get into the sewers where you'll find 4 pizza-loving brothers, each with their own specific colors. Of course this is a reference to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but because of copyright issues in this game they are simply named Turtle. Well, that's all I've got for this episode of Scrambled Secrets. Make sure to tune in next time for even more hidden Easter eggs you may have missed in your favorite video games. As always, I'm your host Austin Claypool. Thanks for watching.
What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Monkey Plays, where Trinan and I try to survive Rust. Last week, you saw us farm scrap, use the recycler, and create a level 3 workbench. This week, we are going to locate and use a green keycard. A green keycard can spawn in 4 different locations: the gas station, the lighthouse, supermarket, and junkyard. What is a green card and why do we want it? A green card has access to 3 different locations: satellite dish, harbor, and sewer branch. Today, we're going to be using the sewer branch. Without further ado, welcome to Rust. First, to even use a sewer branch, we're going to need 2 items. First, obviously, is the green card, but second is an electric fuse. For the green card, we chose to run to the abandoned supermarket down the road, so that's where we'll be heading first. At the supermarkets, lighthouse, gas station, and junkyards, the green card always will spawn on the desk. The next item we needed was an electric fuse. What is an electric fuse? An electric fuse is required to use any of the keycard rooms located in the map. To find an electric fuse, we can look in 3 different places: crates, sunken chests, and barrels. Luckily, there were some crates around the supermarket and we found a fuse in the nearby crate. So why did we choose to use the green card at Sewer Branch? Trendon said that for as easy as you can obtain a green card, Sewer Branch possesses a ton of valuable loot that would be otherwise hard to obtain, so it's pretty efficient when grinding out the earlier stages of the wipe. We chose to go to the Sewer Branch because there is a recycler and a refinery, as well as lootable crates. If you guys don't know what a recycler is, check out last week's episode. In short, it recycles stuff. A refinery is important because it changes crude oil into low-grade fuel, which is used to run cars, helicopters, boats, and flame traps. Sewer Branch also gives us ample cover spots to defend ourselves if someone else has the same idea to loot Sewer Branch. Finally, a big reason we chose to go to the Sewer Branch was because of the possibility of finding the blue key card. The blue key card is the next step in the series where we take the blue key card to the oil rig. Tune in next week where Trinan and I attempt to clear oil rig from the scientists and loot the blue key card room. Thank you guys for watching. Today, Trinan and I obtained a green card, got an electric fuse, and took those to the Sewer Branch to find some resources and obtain that cherished blue key card. As always, have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Our journey begins as we venture towards the town of Arachne. But as the terrain becomes more rugged, the wagon breaks down. The horses halt and the driver and passengers get out to see what has happened. You leave the broken down wagon and see the other two passengers and the driver discussing how to finish this journey.
Gosh, I swear, I hit the same dang boulder every time I make this trip. Does this mean we have to walk all the way to Ragni from here? Well, it's not that far. It's just a straight path from here. Here, take these as a partial refund for the journey. If you are ready, let's get moving. Welcome back to Hidden Gems in Gaming. I'm your host, John Taylor, and I know what you're going to say. John, what gives? This isn't a hidden gem. This is Minecraft. Everybody knows Minecraft. Well, now that's over with. I know this is Minecraft, but do you love playing MMORPGs such as World of Warcraft or RuneScape as much as I do? And also enjoy playing Minecraft? Well, let me tell you something. This server is for you. This week's hidden gem is Winecraft. Winecraft is the largest and most popular MMORPG server on Minecraft. Just like you saw in the intro of this video, this server offers so much for the role-playing fanatics, as wherever you go in this huge world is someone you can interact with to find a new quest to venture on. Complete quests, raids, dungeons, and explore the vastness of this immersive world with the biggest and most detailed adventure map. I mean, look at the size of it. With all this exploring, you'll never get bored. Once you join the server, there are multiple classes to pick from. You can keep your distance from the enemies while still dishing out high levels of damage with the archer, be the tank of the team and face the enemies head-on as the warrior, use the power of magic to cast spells with the mage, hide in the shadows and strike the weak spot of enemies with high damage attack as the assassin, or use powerful buffs and debuffs to control a large group of enemies with the shaman. Whatever your playstyle is, you'll find what fits you perfectly. Alongside the weapon you use associated with your class, you have gathering professions such as a pickaxe to gather ingot and gems, an axe to gather wood and paper, a scythe to gather string and grain, and a fishing rod to gather oil and meat. The more you gather, the higher you level up, and each tier grants you better resources you can gather. You then could use those resources at crafting stations to make armor, weapons, jewelry, potions, and food. With all these professions having multiple tiers and more than 100 levels for your character, Winecraft is filled with an endless amount of playing. And all this is just a click away by joining a server on Minecraft. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next week on our next Hidden Gem. You're still here? It's over. Go play Winecraft. Go. Boom, boom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Project Delta. As always, I'm your host, Aaron James. With me this week, we have...
Austin.
All right, Austin. Nice to have you on the show, but today we're playing Control, which is a title from Remedy that released in 2019. And Remedy is a studio that broke onto the scene nearly 20 years ago with Max Payne. Now, have you ever played Max Payne? It's kind of an iconic series.
I have not played Max Payne, but I'll tell you what, I've played a lot of Control here in the past couple days because it's the free game of the month for PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
And I took advantage of that, let me tell you what.
Same reason I played it, and I'm glad I did. Now, Max Payne, have you heard of it at least? Do you know anything about it?
I've heard about it, and I know some of the powers are similar with like slow-mo, time warpage, and stuff like that. But no, I haven't played it at all.
Yeah, it's not really time warping, you're just a detective, and like you enter this bullet time when you dive and stuff, and like. So it slows down time, but he has no powers, I guess.
Right, okay.
It's just a gameplay mechanic. Whereas Control is actually full of supernatural things.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it is one of the most interesting settings I've ever played in a video game. The Bureau, or wherever you're at, the oldest house is what it's called.
Right, got some weird names. What I love about it though, this is a perfect example of the bathrooms. I think this is a bathroom. Yeah. The destructibility and the physics base, look at that.
Satisfying.
It's so
in combat
good.
When you're just throwing things around and everything's getting broken.
Yeah, you can pick up just any object basically. It's so good.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever went into the bathroom just to tear up the stalls, but it does look like fun. So.
That was one of the first things I did.
Remedy is known for trying some out there things, so it's no surprise that Control has these supernatural elements like
Alan Wake. Have you ever heard of that game or played that title?
I've only heard the name, but no, I haven't played the game or even seen anybody play the game.
So it was released on the last generation of consoles, and it blended tight action with supernatural horror. You played Alan Wake, who was an author, who was taken by his wife when he gets in a writer's block to this lake to take him on a vacation, a retreat essentially. She's gonna have him meet this psychiatrist and this former author, like, who has a book about secrets to success and like getting out of a block.
Okay.
When some weird things start happening and this darkness starts taking over the town, essentially, called Bright Falls, and you get this flashlight that lets you fight back. I don't know. And
A flashlight.
Control and Alan Wake are connected. The universes in them, and there's a few little tidbits of Alan Wake in this game, actually. And as somebody that had played Alan Wake on the 360, it was pretty exciting. And there was even Alan Wake's All-American Nightmare, which was a standalone $15 title that had a little more action in it than just like suspense and like survival. And it was pretty good too. But
Nice. I might have to check that game out. Sounds like, if it's anything like this, or especially since it's made by the same people.
yes, but you don't have like, I mean, Control is pretty awesome in the whole telekinesis and levitation, and I mean, I guess most of the powers are just forms of telekinesis, like
Right,
levitating yourself, like barriers, still just picking up a bunch of rocks. Like, what's that you got in your hands there? That's pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, it's a, I think it's called the service weapon or
yeah,
something
the service
like that.
weapon. The director gets them.
The director who's just in charge of the bureau, and Jesse becomes the director when she just appears.
Yeah, so
in
this
the
game,
bureau.
yeah, it starts out with you in the bureau. You don't know what's going on. You don't even know what building this is that you're in, really. But your character, Jessie Faden, is talking to herself or someone in her head from the very start of the game. And the game tells its story through some crazy visuals and like set dressing. Like the environment is wonderful, especially for like telling the story as you travel through and you see the areas that are messed up.
It's really detailed too. Like every room is different. It has all these different objects that you can fight enemies with.
very satisfyingly pick up and throw at people.
The character models are really good too. Animation, I'm sure they used motion capture and stuff like that for all the characters, but even these guys right here, like, they look pretty good.
It's a little dark on
It is a
the
little dark.
screen right now.
Yeah, that is
but
something that I noticed about this
I think
game.
it's set to my settings too, though, for my TV maybe, so it might look dark on this one.
I think it's just a dark game overall too.
It
Like,
is. It is.
There was multiple times when I was playing it on my own that just the parts that I've played, it was just
You
it
were
was
getting a
almost too
little-
dark to see.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you were getting a little spooked. Are you a little afraid of the dark, Austin?
I mean, some of the monsters in here are a little spooky. Not gonna lie.
So Remedy is working on 2 new titles right now. Maybe it's actually 3. One of them's like a smaller title, they said. But apparently none of them are Alan Wake. I don't know if I believe it, because Alan Wake, while it has been dead for like 10 years or more, it is it's a cult classic. It's a very talked about title still to this day. And if anything, it's become more popular over time than it was when it released. And Control just shows that they're ready to take the supernatural element like all the way to the next level. It's one of the most original storylines I've played through in a game in a while, I would say.
Huh. Yeah, I'm surprised that I would consider myself a gamer, and I'm surprised I haven't gotten around to seeing anything about the game.
It took me 2 years to pick it up, yeah.
Yeah.
It released in 2019. So right now you're running around the bureau. The main story has been beaten, so you are just running around clearing out enemies which are controlled by the hiss. So this
Right.
building is the oldest house, and it is connected to like different realities, different dimensions.
The astral plane.
Yep, the astral plane. There's
Yeah.
the board of directors who talk to you from that red, not dial-up phone. What is it? Rotary phone. It's a
hotline.
rotary phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Like, look at this. I mean, just when you're walking through areas and you see bodies floating, and that's from the start of the game. You know something's wrong. You see people floating in the air, suspended.
Like something's off. There's something always a
Oh,
little
it's always something.
not right.
I will say that I feel like the telekinesis is overpowered.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's no reason, it's the point of the game, but especially once you can throw 3 objects at once. I don't even know if I've seen this enemy before. What is that?
Oh, that one's one of the harder enemies actually. It like turns invisible and it only shows up right before it attacks you, and it's hard to dodge the attacks.
Well, you dealt with him handily, so.
Well, I mean, I do have to say, since you beat the game, your character, you got Jesse powered up pretty well.
You're something of a monster, though, aren't you, Austin? You've been spending some time.
I have been grinding this game, yeah.
What's all the way up here? I don't think I've came up here either.
This is I mean, there's
this
the thing about this game is there's
Tons
so
of
many
secrets.
hidden areas and stuff.
Hey,
when you
man.
discover them, it like tells you that you discovered a hidden area, but
I wish we had someone to scramble these secrets.
man,
You know what I mean?
that would be
I really wish,
that would be good.
I wish I knew a guy, but I don't. So what are you heading towards right now, though? Like, is that a secret area? Have you?
Oh no, I found a
You're
few,
just
but I'm just
through here
running
right now.
around trying to find some more hiss enemies, yeah,
To attack.
to fight off. Little radio.
So, Remedy is currently working on 3 titles, as I said that earlier. My hopes, probably completely unfounded, is that they are partnering with Rockstar again to make another Max Payne. Now, Max Payne 3 was almost like a fitting conclusion to the trilogy, and you know, it could wrap up Max's story, but I think it also has the themes of, which you haven't played it, but he's either gonna die doing what he's doing, or he's not gonna die, and so he's not dead yet, so I think there's another game in there.
Yeah, if they don't specifically show that he died, then I would say chances are they're just going to continue that storyline of whatever it is. But thank you for not spoiling it for me.
Yeah,
so I can
no
enjoy
spoilers.
it when I get around to playing it.
But we are out of time here on Project Delta this week. I'd like to thank you for coming on, Austin, and showing us your mental strength. Look at you. You can lift
Yeah,
objects
thanks
with
for
one
having
arm.
me.
You're yoked, dude. Anyway, thanks for watching Project Delta. Catch it here on Gentoo each week on KNWT Channel 8.